And thanks for tuning in to Morning Live. Now, today is a public holiday, but yesterday the nation celebrated Youth Day, paying tribute to the memory of the brave learners who lost their lives on June the 16th, 1976, fighting for human rights. The 1976 uprising began in Soweto and spread throughout South Africa, changing the country's socio-political landscape. Now, the events on that day were rooted in the apartheid policies that led to the Bantu Education Act of 1953. And today, we're speaking to a young man who founded an organization that practically helps tertiary graduates to get ready for the workplace. Manqoba Linda Zungu is one of the founding members of the GetReady Mentorship Programme, and he joins us from our Durban studio and says that tertiary institutions are still providing subjects that are not required in the workplace. And also alongside me here in the Joburg studio is Phelokazi Masiqa, who is a mentee at the GetReady Mentorship Programme. Good morning to both of you, and thanks so much for speaking to us today.
Good morning, Saki.
Manqoba,
Thanks for having us.
Thanks so much. And I'm going to start with you. As a young accountant who holds an MBA, you've also founded the GetReady Mentorship Programme. What drives you as a young person yourself to help other youngsters in South Africa get ahead in the workplace?
Once again, thanks for having me, Sakina. I think for me, it's my family upbringing. So my mom is a nurse. My dad, basically, my dad is also very involved in church. And through my upbringing, I basically realized the importance of, the community structures, the importance of assisting others, the importance of being there for others. So that's sort of my first experience of mentorship and my experience of being involved within the community and not just sitting back, identifying social ills and doing something about it.
So you've also honed in on this conversation around high school and how it doesn't necessarily equip young people or get them ready to be able to fully participate in a tertiary activity. So talk to us about your views on that matter.
I think we don't operate as an ecosystem. You get the requirements of matriculants. It's 33% pass rate. You then get a lot of matriculants that have passed, but that 33% doesn't get them into universities. Similarly, in the universities, the graduates go through everything that they need to go through, they pass, but that qualification is not enough for them to transition into the workplace. So, we're almost operating in silos, and the system is not working efficiently as an ecosystem. And so I feel that, that's where it needs to start, that we shouldn't even have two different departments of education. It should be one department of education that looks at the transition or that looks at the journey from, we used to call it class 1, grade 1, from grade 1 to grade 12 to graduation and to employment. It should be one ecosystem.
You also go on to say that tertiary education is also not necessarily up to par, and that people still struggle once they leave these institutions to still find jobs. Why do you believe that is the case, though? I
believe that so when we engaged with business, as an example, and corporates, we say to them, there's a dichotomy that exists here wherein the corporates or business says that the students they can't find talent, yet there's so many unemployed graduates. And when we engage with them, we find that their views are that the graduates come into the workplace, they can't solve critical problems, they can't think critically, they can't persuade, they don't have empathy, they can't communicate. It's all of those softer skills that are lacking. And that's sort of what we then focus on in our program, to then be the transition between the graduates that have the technical qualification, the technical understanding, but how do we then transition them into the workplace? Some of them, when they come into our program, it's their first time being in a corporate building. It's their first time engaging with an executive. It's the first time engaging with someone that studied something different to what they studied. So once we sort of form that environment, It makes it easier for them to then transition into the workplace. It makes it easier for them to engage with more senior people, more junior people, people that have studied different degrees, and then they are able to leverage off the diversity that one provides.
So Phelokazi, this is where you come in, because you obviously have joined the Get Ready program, but what did you study and what has this program done for you?
Okay, in varsity I did BCom accounting, and I was lucky enough to get a internship in Land Bank during 2017 and 2018, which ended June 2018, but after that I was unemployed. So in December 2018, I then got to know of the Get Ready Mentorship Programme through PPS, the Professionals Connect platform. I applied for it and it started in January this year. When I got into the program, it was life-changing in the sense that when I got there, I had no hope because I had been unemployed for the past 6 months and I had not been getting any calls for any interview. So I was wondering, what is it that I'm doing wrong? Because I have the qualification. I believe that I have the talent, but where is it that where is it that I'm going wrong? So Get Ready then was life-changing in the sense that the mentors that we were allocated there, the guidance that they gave us to see that these are the softer skills. Yes, you have the technical knowledge, but the softer skills that these employers are looking for, and that transitioning from university to the workplace is quite difficult for us, because you know that most of these corporates, as Manqoba has mentioned, that they say that we tend to regurgitate the theory we learned in university and we struggle to apply ourselves in the workplace. That's where then Get Ready comes in and say, how do we then make this transitioning a bit smoother? How do you then take these technical skills that you have in varsity and apply them in the workplace?
So on a practical level, if you were to give us a practical example of that, what would you say was your biggest struggle, and how did this Get Ready program help you overcome that?
Okay. One of the things that I struggled with was presentation. And in my previous learnership, there was a point where we had to present to credit committees, and unfortunately for me, I never got the chance because I was not yet there at that level of being able to present in front of a committee. But through Get Ready, it created that safe space for you to learn and to also overcome that fear of presenting and being able to stand in front of an audience and present yourself.
So Manqoba, back to you. After you have now equipped these graduates with some of those soft skills, as you put it, do you then also help them, assist them to find employment?
Absolutely, we do, Sakina. So we've had 124 graduates come through the program, and of those 124, we've gotten employment for about 109 of them, which is about an 87% success rate. Others have then decided through the program, they've realized that actually they don't want to be employed, they want to be employers. So we've assisted a few others to then create their own employment, and they now sort of leading their own businesses and providing employment. So we've partnered with many organizations. Pelo has mentioned PPS, Ellen Gray, Barlow World, Massmart. A lot of organizations have sort of come through to us and said, they found that the quality of the graduates from the program is quite high. So it then decreases their recruitment costs as well, because then they don't have to interview a whole lot of graduates to find the right ones. They know that they can just come to us. And other companies as well, through the YES initiatives, they've made commitments to YES to say, we're going to provide 100 jobs as an example, but then they can't find the quality graduates. So we've then become a feeder to those companies as they provide employment through the YES program. So we believe that we've done quite well, but ultimately for us, success is when organizations like Get Ready don't exist, because ultimately, as I said earlier on, the system should be actually churning out graduates that are work ready. We shouldn't be having to have these programs that have to assist them to transition, because when they graduate, ideally they should be work ready.
You alluded to this earlier on when you spoke about the dichotomy that exists, but in interacting with these companies, what are they saying to you? Why does it exist, and what should be done in the immediate term to try and eradicate that?
I think, again, I mean, I know I keep hovering on the same point, but it's the ecosystem. So for me, as an example, the corporates themselves should be involved in drafting the curriculum that is taught in the universities. So if you're an accountant or your organization has got accountants in your organization, they should be involved in the curriculum that is taught to the graduates or to the students at an undergrad level. They should be going and doing guest lectures in those universities, because in that way the students are now getting the practical, real-time, real-world experiences from those that are already doing the job. And what that does is then again, it then makes the gap between transitioning from graduating to the workplace a lot easier, because these graduates now start engaging with you as an executive, they start engaging with you as, you know, as an engineer or whatever your qualification is. And in that way, when they get into the workplace, they're already used to having those engagements with you. They already know what is expected, you know, because they've been engaging with you from an undergrad level. And I found that that doesn't happen. So it's just pure theory in university. Sometimes you find that even the lecturers themselves have never worked a day in their lives. They just went, you know, they've just been academics. And I think the balance is important, you know, that you need the academic theoretical background, but you also need someone who's got the practical background who can then apply or assist you to apply what you've been learning in school.
So, and this question is to both of you, but I'm going to start with you, Phelokazi. Apart from unemployment, what would you say are the other key obstacles that the youth face today in trying to move forward?
I think one of the biggest obstacles that we are facing apart from unemployment is the education system, and also the quality of our education system, because the talent is there, but the unemployment rate is still so high. So I think that the quality of our education system is kind of a big problem at the moment, because if we have the talent, why is the unemployment rate, specifically youth, why is it still so high? So it boils down to the quality of our education. What is it that still needs to be done? Because Manqoba said that the universities are still providing subjects that are not required in the workplace. So we need to understand what is it that can be done then to try and solve this issue, so that we can produce quality graduates that can enter into the workforce.
Manqoba?
Yeah, I think my view, other than the unemployment, I just think that we need to drive entrepreneurship more. So when we started Get Ready, it was about getting graduates ready for employment, and we realized that actually, you know, there's another leg to it, to say, let's get them ready to start their own businesses. You know, social entrepreneurship exercises. So when during the program, we run what we call a business model canvas. And we get, you know, the graduates to identify social challenges in their spaces and come up with solutions for those challenges, and then we then assist them to commercialize those solutions and create their own businesses. Because ultimately, you know, if the numbers say that there are too many graduates or too many sort of students coming into the system and there aren't enough jobs. So yes, the Get Ready will be then assisting with providing employment for the graduates, but the bigger, I think, challenge is for us to transition into a nation that is entrepreneurial. You know, so social entrepreneurship is quite important. SMMEs need to be supported, because ultimately for us to grow our economy, we need to create more social enterprises, and we need to support SMMEs.
Well, thank you so much for speaking to us, Manqoba Linda Zungu, one of the founding members of Get Ready Mentorship Programme, and Phelokazi Masiqa, who is a Get Ready mentee, and speaking to us about one of the biggest challenges of our time, where we talk about graduates who are not skilled for employment, it would seem. We're going to take a break. On the other side of that, we'll have your latest news.